I actually live in the States, but I have a house and villa in the Dominican Republic, which is where I am currently uh, doing a villa quarantine right now. The purpose of this call is that we've started a new orientation and structure of our groups into countries. We have literally now thousands of members, and we're limited by WhatsApp's ability to organize into one group. So we've separated everyone into country groups, but we've actually have more people than that's allowed. We actually, each group only can have 256 members. So we're right now encouraging everybody to get onto Telegram as a part of our next phase of this. So this call is to kind of go through an orientation of that, as well as where do we from here and what the purpose is. And also to deal with some of the misinformation as it were. We're not a chat group. We're not a group that goes around complaining about why people are racist. We're not a group to philosophize on ancient African history. We're a group that's very narrowly focused on protecting Black people from racism and xenophobia. We're not here to debate that. We have a very particular way that we are going about protecting Black people. There probably are thousands of ways to protect Black people from racism and xenophobia. We have one particular way that we are focused on and are executing. So if you have another way, that's great. Form your own organization, build your own group, spend all your resources, God bless you. But right here at I Love Black People, we're focusing all our time and energy on creating a network to protect Black people from racism and xenophobia, especially when they're vulnerable in new places or going through a crisis like the coronavirus. So just to kick it off, like I said, I'm co-founder. My other co-founder is Mr. Christopher Mapindera, who's from Zimbabwe. As you can tell, I'm African-American, so I'm sure my ancestors are from West Africa somewhere, but unfortunately, because of white supremacy, colonialism, we lost our names, our language, and they stole a whole bunch of other things, crimes against humanity, so that I can't tell you exactly who my great-great-great-grandmama is, but I know that all of our mothers are in Africa. So with that being said, me and Mr. Mapindera have been working together since about 2008 on projects in Africa. I'm an engineer by profession, and so is he. We met in Washington, D.C. We went to the same university, historically Black university called Howard University. And we realized that out of all the things that we could do to help our people using technology was fighting racism and xenophobia. At the end of the day, all these Silicon Valley types and all these folks with solutions, not one of them were addressing the issues of racism and xenophobia that have been facing our people for at least the last 500 years. So we said we would be the ones that actually would do something about it using technology. And I say using technology because we're not a group that's going to blame governments or blame presidents or wait for an election or wait for politics. That's not what our focus is on, how we're going to do for ourselves. This is about self-determination. It's about how do we control our own lives and control the world we live in. So that means no matter if there's election this year, next year, or whoever the president is, we're going to wake up every morning and do everything we can to protect Black people from racism, xenophobia, full stop. And the way we do that is actually creating a network of safe places for Black people globally. We're using a model that was actually started during the apartheid times in America, where Black people were being lynched and hung in different places of America, and Black folks didn't know what was safe, what wasn't safe. So a group of Black people, entrepreneurs, got together and created a thing called the Green Book, which was a guidebook to travel throughout the United States to protect Black people from being lynched and harmed. There were places in America where after dark, they called them sun downtowns where Black folks, if they were found in the street, they'd be arrested. So we're looking at the fact that these folks, and this is probably important since we're on Easter, you know, for the Christian audience, Easter weekend, you know, it doesn't matter if you were a Christian, a Muslim, or whatever your background, they were lynching everybody. If you look at what's going on in China right now, they're not asking those Black people, are they Muslims or Christians? Are they celebrating Easter? They're discriminating against everybody. We as a people got to realize that we represent 1.5 billion people. That's about the size of China. But we're all separated. Some people think they're from one place to another place, but we are collectively dealing with the same oppression. And that oppressor doesn't care if you're from Ghana, if you're from Uganda, or wherever you're from, racism is real. In the United States, the police actually hunt Black people and murder us on video, and no one stops it. Nothing like that could ever happen to this extent with Europeans. So we have to protect ourselves. No one's coming to save us. That being said, we have to have focus and discipline to execute the plan. So our mission, I Love Black People, is to protect Black people from racism and xenophobia through technology, okay? And the technology that we're using is from our startup, Bill Murray, it's a tech startup, which is what we're using to power this movement. So when I say that, that's the application, that's the website, all the things that we're doing have been built by Black technologists for Black people to solve problems that are facing our community. Now, that's the foundation, technology. What is important is about how we leverage this technology to solve and to scale the solution for our problems. So we have Black people literally from all over the world helping us crowdsource, identify Black-friendly and Black-owned spaces throughout the world in 8 categories essential to people activity. 8 categories. So that's health. Like right now, you're seeing the issue with this coronavirus, where literally there are people experimenting on Black people without their knowledge and exploiting us and our human rights. There's also places where Black people have been denied help because of racism. And of course, as you're seeing right now in China, and it's probably going on in other places, where Black people are being mistreated under the guise of coronavirus. Racism will use every crisis to be racism. Let me say it another way. Racism is a system. We had people say, why are you talking about racism when the issue is coronavirus? I don't care what the issue is, racism has been a part of every area of people activity for the last 500 years. There's no way to escape it, but we have to do something to protect ourselves from it. So what we're seeing now in healthcare is really what's been going on even before the coronavirus. Purposely, our healthcare systems have been just decimated. 500 years ago, before our people were colonized, we had plenty of good health, probably some of the best health systems at that time in the world. But through the things that we've gone through, they've been destroyed, and we're the ones who are gonna have to fix it. Not somebody's government, not some NGO, not Bill Gates, who's probably trying to depopulate us, but we're gonna have to figure this out. Well, that's what we're doing with I Love Black People. We're creating a network in these 8 key areas, one being health, of identifying Black-owned and Black-friendly healthcare providers, so that no matter where Black folks are, they have access to people who will treat them with dignity and respect. Stop. So we got health, we got transportation, making sure that no matter where, how we're traveling, that we're traveling in a way where we're safe and that people respect us. Accommodations, as you see again going on in China, we need to make sure we identify Black-friendly places where Black folks can stay, where they can be safe and be sheltered. Food, that's another category we have. That is important because, of course, we got to eat and we got to be treated with respect when we go someplace. The restaurant can have a great hamburger, but if they discriminate against us or disrespect us, they don't deserve our money. So we got to make sure we go to the places that would treat us well in that regard. Finances, we got to make sure people aren't exploiting us for our money. So that's one category, Black-owned and Black-friendly financial services. Legal, right now the folks that are in China need to know where they can get Black-friendly expert legal assistance. We need to have already identified it. The next time we have a crisis, we're going to be able to have a networking effect to protect our people from the racist people that we know that are already out there. But we got to build the system. It's not going to be complaining or crying. I've never seen so many grown men whining and crying and complaining about what's going on. We're adults. We don't whine and cry. We solve things. We solve problems. This is not for debate. If somebody doesn't understand racism, God bless them. There's another group for that. We don't debate that at ILoveBlackPeople. We're clear what racism is. We're clear what xenophobia is. We're not trying to convince anybody. What we're trying to do is actually get the people who already know what's going on and organize with them to come up with a solution that specifically uses a network of Black-friendly and Black-safe places. Is this the only solution? Like I said, no, it's not. But that's the solution that we use here. And if you're in the country group, that's where our focus is on. And if you're doing something else, you'll be removed from the group. We don't have time to be distracted by good things or bad things. There's too much going on, and the consequences are very deadly by the way people are being treated. And we're not going to sit by and have another philosophizing or another debate on how to go about solving it. We have an actual solution, and what we're doing now is implementing the program with your help. So our biggest thing is to identify these safe places. Beauty is another one. Of course, this is, again, some people say, why are you identifying safe places for beauty? Well, you know, psychologically, people, you know, the way people look is important. And unfortunately, and this a lot of times with us as Black men, we don't respect or value the natural beauty of our sisters. So we're trying to get our sisters to wear wigs and do all kind of bleaching of their skin. It's ridiculous. We need to make sure our sisters are respected and appreciated for their natural beauty and can go to places where they can get whatever they need in order to support them as it relates to their beauty and how they look. And the same thing goes with men with barbershops and whatnot. We should be able to go any place in the world and get the resources and services that we need in a way that's respectful and it treats us with dignity. So that's, beauty is another one of the areas. Education and childcare. Education is essential. We have to control our own education. We got to stop allowing our colonizer, out people who don't have our welfare at hand in control of our education systems and what we're actually learning, or our childcare. So it's very important that we identify Black-friendly as well as Black-owned childcare and education facilities. All right. So we have 8 categories to the areas that we're identifying globally all over the world, which we support. That's the focus of the action groups that we have in each country. What else do we have here? Our headquarters. Our headquarters are in Washington, D.C. and Harare. Our main office is in Harare at the Harare International Conference Center, like in the middle of Harare. And then we also have an office in Northwest Washington, D.C., United States. So between those 2 places, you know, I find myself going back and forth. And we also, again, have trips and tours that we do in other parts of the world. All right. So our goal is to create a global network of members, ambassadors, Black-friendly, Black-owned businesses to protect Black people from racism and xenophobia in at least 236 major cities in 8 essential categories of people activity by August 2020, with 100,000 total members by the end of the year. So right now we have about 20-some thousand members actively in our groups. We have over almost 3,000 members. And then as far as ambassadors, we have probably close to 300 of them. And by the end of the year, we should have at least 100,000. But it's not about numbers. This is about quality execution. By August 2020, we will have completed our first mission to cover the world with Black-friendly, safe places that we can protect ourselves. Thank you, baby. My wife got me a nice little cold drink out here. Thank you, wife. Ain't nothing like marriage, y'all. Whatever we doing, protecting ourselves, be an awesome thing to do. Thank you, baby. Love you. So, my wife made me a drink like this. Now, that's a drink. With the little thing on top of it. That's some real deal love. If somebody see you, let's go. I'm sorry, y'all. I get talking, and it gets kind of like, my throat get all crazy. I know I sound a little wild. Anyway, so my point is, we got to focus on what we're doing for ourselves. It's going to come save us, save ourselves. Let me go back to I started losing my train of thought. Okay, yeah, so the numbers aren't as important as the quality execution. So we're going to create this network by August 2020, where no matter where you go in the world, you would be able to identify Black safe places in those 8 categories. We need everybody to be reaching out to their family and friends all over the world. Just like this thing in China. We've been on a couple calls already with different folks, and we're going to create a China group for African brothers and sisters who are in China, so that they can be organized, so we can find ways to support them and leverage. When I say support them, let me give you an example. Identify safe places, first of all. Identify lawyers that can help people who have legal problems. Find out ways to get them connected, if they need to any other resources and other people who have information. We have to make sure we leverage the information as power. Right now, if you notice, the main media is controlled by Europeans. So they're not talking about the issues that are concerning us until they're way, way too terribly and dangerous and sensationalized. We all know that there's been problems with racism in China before this incident. So we got to be the ones that are actually active and organizing around this. Woo. So we're going to make sure that we get in contact. And if you have any friends and family in China, please let us know so that we can directly get in contact with them. Now, some of them have real issues because China blocks a lot of the technology coming in, the VPNs and things like that. So again, if it's WeChat, or it can be tricky because they be track folks doing all kinds of things. But our point is that if we organize and can give our people information that's positive on where they can go and how they can deal with the system, that is not just something that they need in China, it's something we need all over. And just because China is on the news today, doesn't mean that Black folks aren't being hurt in Italy. Like right now, Italy is one of the big spots where a lot of people are dying of coronavirus. How many Black people have you seen on TV or in the newspaper? Almost none. But how are African immigrants or African people who live in Italy being treated in this epidemic? Same in Spain, same as in France. These are all racist countries that have treated Black people horribly. What's going on with Black folks in those areas? We need to be reaching out globally to our friends and family that don't live in Africa, but live in environments where they're outnumbered and don't have the same infrastructure and support. And that's not to say that we don't have problems in Africa. We have real problems on the continent, but we got to stop thinking that we're just local. As Black people, we've always been global. So our whole vantage point is that we need to maintain what we're doing in order to make sure that we're providing the support for our people no matter where they live. And again, when we start talking about Black people, we're talking about 1.5 billion people on the earth. All we need to do is start working together better. We don't have to work together. We don't have to do the same thing. We can be different. Like I said, you got Muslims, you got Christians, you got folks who got indigenous spiritual beliefs. But we all can come together when it comes to issues of protecting ourselves from this wicked racist system. So that's our focus for this first year, is to build out this network of Black-friendly places. So no matter where we go in the world, Black folks will be treated with dignity and respect. Year two, by August 2021, we've created an ambassador safety net to help members in need with at least 5 ambassadors in every major city in the world, with 250,000 total members by the end of 2. What that means is that the role of the ambassador is going to become more and more important. We're going to, if I'm in a community that you're living in, I'm going to be coming out saying, please help me and let me know where's a good place to go if I need some place to eat or need a place to stay. We're going to have ambassadors in China, all over the world, so that when Black folks find themselves in a particular situation and not familiar with their surroundings, that they'll have people that they can reach out to. And we know there's like, people from different parts of the, there's large Nigerian, Ghanaian. I mean, there's a host of communities within your ethnic group or your country. But what we realize is that this is a global issue. No one's hurting somebody because they're from West Africa. They're hurting somebody because of racism. And we need to make sure that we all, no matter where we're from, are working together to protect ourselves from these racist systems. So with that being said, our ambassador by year 2, we hope to have that there's people everywhere you go that should be able to reach out to. And what we're developing is like an emergency button through our application, where if you find yourself in a particular difficult situation because of racism, xenophobia, you'll be able to press an emergency alert button where it notifies all the ambassadors in your area that you're having a problem with your GPS, letting people know where you are and who you are, so that either, your family members can be contacted, someone can come help you. Whatever it is, we want to create more systems leveraging our relationships and technology to help protect us when we're most vulnerable and in need. Because no one is going to come save us. Like, we're the only ones who are going to care enough about us to help us. We have the tools, we just got to put them into action. Not talking, not chatting, not debating, not asking why Chinese people are racist, not asking why Europeans are racist. We know there's bad people all over the world. Now what are we going to do about it? And what we're going to do about it is going to organize, and organize so that we have put together infrastructures and tools that we can use in order to protect ourselves from the wicked things that men do. So that's year 2, build out the ambassadors program, where we have ambassadors, at least 5 in every major city. So no matter when Black folks are traveling, not only will they have safe places, they also have contacts that can be helpful in guiding you through what you're doing. And then thirdly, in year 5, we'd like to link all the healthcare providers that we have on our network, create our own healthcare system. When I say create our own health, in 5 years, create our own healthcare system, it's just like this issue of coronavirus. If we had doctors and healthcare providers all connected, we could have got an early warning on what was going on. Instead of us depending on liars and no good people who don't care about us informing us of what's going on, we could have had our own healthcare professionals throughout the world exchanging information to help us know, hey, it looks like there's something going on and a communicable disease that spread. To be candid, if you think about it, ever since we've been dealing with colonialism and this white supremacist system, there's been diseases that have been spread throughout Africa to depopulate and harm us, from tuberculosis to all these diseases that were done in order to, almost like a biological warfare. And I'm not going to get into is Ebola man-made or is it natural? Is this coronavirus natural, man-made? You'll hear people debate like for days and days about that and do nothing to help us. Like that debate, if it's real or not, we're going to have to be protected from coronavirus. So however it got established, I think the United States government has a lot to do with it, but me saying that's not enough to protect us. So no matter how these viruses are coming about, we need to have a system in place. And I always tell my people, in order to make great decisions, you need great information. And if we have our own healthcare system, a virtual system throughout the world, we'll be able to get real-time information. That means we'll be able to get great information to make great decisions. And that's timely information, that's relevant information, and that's accurate information. Those are things that we've been lacking. People were waiting for the government to help them. Listen, the United States government been the worst government in dealing with this crisis. So when people start telling me, oh, my president, look, it doesn't matter who your president is. All these governments suck. We, as the people, have to do something. And I mean, I'm not trying to offend anybody who's in government, but government systems are problematic in general. So for us to keep waiting for them to change is almost insane. You only got one life, and if you're waiting in that life to do something based on the government, you're probably going to waste a lot of your life. So what's best to do is take responsibility every morning when you wake up and hold your own damn self accountable instead of worrying about if you're going to hold somebody in some political office accountable. Not saying you shouldn't hold them accountable, but we have to do for ourselves. And there's enough of us, if we just halfway work together to solve these problems, we're smart enough, we're creative enough, and resourceful enough, the people, to do something about it. So none of the things I'm telling you is somehow thinking that, oh, Black folks are victims. No, the real victims are the native Australians. Those Aborigines are victims. Those folks in North America where genocide was committed against the Native Americans, those are victims. They're gone. Black folks in Africa, all over, we refuse to leave. We refuse to lose, and we're relentless. So at the end of the day, whatever they throw at us, we've been able to deal with everything. And they've done headshots. They tried to destroy us, and we still right here, like Tupac, 5 times. So my point is, we have to use our being here, though, to do something about the problem and not just talk about how, oh, Black people are so amazing, which is great. We are amazing, but what are we going to do? So again, we look at this building systems virtually all over the world where we connect and we can have our own healthcare system to give us information to prevent us from getting sicker, give us best practices, places that we know we can go, intel, information we need. That's one thing. And then 2, our own education system. This whole thing about shutting down the systems of education, these education systems have been basically created and maintained by colonial methods. We need our own education system globally so that we can teach our own babies and teach our own kids, not just for the sake of our people, so that we can actually do something to change the world. Because the way people are being treated in this world is horrible. The pollution, the disease that we're seeing. When Black folks were in control of their own lives, we didn't have these problems like that. That's the problem. We always let them tell us about how it was just 10 years ago, or how it was just 100 years ago. Well, let's go back before Black folks was colonized. They still don't. Our people actually are the originators. We didn't go around colonizing people. So in a real way, there's a better way to actually lead this world. We got to educate ourselves with our own system. And then lastly, we're going to create within 5 years our own financial system. Right now, one of the problems we even had with our books and things that we're trying to do to give people access on the continent, Amazon, PayPal, a lot of these companies don't even work on the continent. So we can't even be able to engage each other. So we're going to build our own financial system. So these are things that we can use in 5 years by us working together, build institutions and systems that we can use to help ourselves. And again, you don't have to be into any of these things. You might just want to help with a little bit. If everybody does a little bit, no one has to do a lot. So I'm not trying to overwhelm you with these goals that we have, but I want you to understand that this is not a chat group sitting around complaining about the white man. This is what you into. You probably have to go ahead and cry to somebody. We grown folks. We don't go around sitting around crying about that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with crying. I'm not saying wrong with crying. But I'm saying we're not here to complain like that. This is about action. So, and then in 10 years, what we hopefully have been able to create with these systems is almost like a virtual community that by 10 years from now, we have 5 million members. That means we have probably every aspect of human activity covered. Anytime we need something, we won't have to go outside of our community. We can actually go inside our community and get everything that we need in order to sustain our families and ourselves. So within 10 years, this movement should have 5 million people who are actively protecting Black people from racism and xenophobia. And this is not about just being Black. That's why we talk about Black friendly. Because just because somebody's Black don't mean they care about Black folks. I'm glad I'm talking to my brothers and sisters in West Africa. Now look, slavery was awful, but some of y'all did sell my ancestors. Now I got my eyes on you. Some of y'all was in there selling with the European, okay? That stuff was wrong. You know, y'all could at least send the boat to come save us, but that's okay. No one sent the boat. It's all right. We're over that, but maybe we're not. But my point is, it's not just enough to be Black. You got to actually be about protecting Black people from racism and xenophobia. And if you're not, we don't want you to be a part of this either. This is about people who want to protect Black people from racism and xenophobia. I don't care how much money I got in my pocket or anyone has in their pocket, we're priceless. This is not about money. This is not a scam to see how we get, you know, Black folks to export. No, this is about us loving us enough that we want to protect each other. And if that's what you're about, this is great for you. If you're about something else, there's probably other places to go. But this is bigger than just saying I'm about Black. This is about taking a position, making a decision to do something about racism and xenophobia in a very particular way. And again, as I said, there are other ways that you can address issues, racism and xenophobia. We just picked a particular way. So if you disagree with it, it's fine. Just don't be in the group though. There's nothing wrong with you disagreeing with our methodology. There's 1,000 ways to do anything. But this is the way that we're decided to leverage technology, our resources, our time and energy to build a solution that by August 2020, we'll be able to look back on. If we don't do anything else, we would have created a platform where no matter where Black folks are, they'll be able to identify places they can go as a guide to protect them from racism and xenophobia. That's huge. It's never been done before. I don't care. Google never did that. Facebook ain't never did that. Nobody with all the billions of dollars has done that. It's going to be Black folks doing that for themselves with your support. So again, that's our big goals. That's how and why we're here. That's the 10-year plan. We talk about resources. Everybody needs to get Facebook, and we need to get to Telegram as soon as we can, because we need to have more people. We need everyone. This is while the colonizers were coming to colonize us. If we had Zoom, we could have warned each other. We could have said, look, don't let them off the boat. I don't know how thirsty or sick they are. Don't let them off the boat. We could have warned each other. Now we have technologies that we can use to help ourselves to fight and to resist ourselves from these devilish, wicked, racist activities. Well, we got to use those technologies. So we need everybody with Zoom so that we can actually use this to better communicate, including dealing with the issues that are going on right now in China with our brothers and sisters, where they can't have a place to stay and they're being mistreated. So we need to be able to connect to our brothers and sisters and give them a safe passage. Like, let them know, look, go here. If you right now are in this space, go here. Do these things so that you can be safe. That's what we have to do. We can't wait for somebody to save us. We also circulated and gave everyone the Black Student Guide. It's a great Pan-African book to help you understand some of our philosophy. Please read the Black Student Guide to Positive Education. Also, we gave you the Global Green Book. We produce a book every year. We sell the book. It's one of the ways we actually generate revenue to support our movement, but as well as a way that we can actually give brothers and sisters information. If they're not necessarily tech savvy, they actually can get the information in a book form. For our members, of course, it's free. That's something that we always want to make sure. Everything that we're doing, we want to make it sustainable, but we want to make it free. Let me say another way. Protecting Black folks should never be something we make Black folks pay for. If one of our brothers and sisters come to us from China, we don't want some product, well, you know, if you pay us some money. No, we're going to make sure we protect each other, because that's the right thing to do. And if you don't think that's the right thing to do, it's not the group for you. It's probably another group where they're trying to get rich real quick and get their money right. But then you go to that group where they do that. Here, we're about taking care of our people and protecting them. So that's the number one, and that's how we're going to judge if we were successful or not. So in this case, please check out the Green Book, the 2019. That helps you understand what we're doing and where we're trying to go. Also, we got our Liberation Heroes. We gave information. A lot of, in the tech space, a lot of people talk about Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, these people. We don't, we're not impressed. We got ancestors that have done bigger and greater things than any of those Mark Zuckerbergs. And if you compare our ancestors to them, they're probably cowards. Our people were fearless. The things that they've changed in the world is phenomenal. So when we wake up every morning and we pay honor to our ancestors, we know where we get our strength from. Even though I don't know my name or where I'm from, I'm clear that my ancestors know who I am. I'm clear that my ancestors have never forsaken me. And I'm clear that through their strength, there's all these things that we're trying to do are possible. So again, when we deal with any of these issues, we always point to our own heroes, our own ancestors for strength and inspiration. World time zones, we always talk about time zones. This is a global movement. You may act locally, you might organize locally, but we're not trying to organize just in one country. What we're trying to do is leverage all the folks that live in one country to reach out to their family and friends in other countries to build a network that protects us no matter where we are. So this is not just because you're in a country action group, that doesn't mean that your activities are limited to that country. That means that your activities in that country should be used to project all over the world. Again, we have to realize what Black folks have to offer the world is amazing. We got to resume our position. We're not just reacting, or we're not waiting for something. We are the leaders of this world. The world that we see now has been corrupted by racism and xenophobia, colonialism, imperialism. But there was a world that happened and existed well before this. If you really think about when Black folks were in charge of their own, had their own sovereignty, we didn't have genocides. We didn't have animal extinction, where animals were all dying. We didn't have all these super crazy viruses and plagues. We didn't have this pollution in the water, pollution in the air, pollution in the food. We live in a toxic world that has been created by people who don't have our interests in mind. But if we resume our position in the world and lead and have something to say about all these things, and by our work, we'll literally change the lives of all people, like we've done in the first place. Everybody that you see with their own language, with their own writing system, they got it from us. We're the original people. That's not for us to say, oh, look at me, what I did. Your history is to help you understand not just where you've been. Our history is to help us understand where we still need to go. So we got so much to do to help make this world a better place. We don't just need to be acting locally, we gotta be thinking globally. So with I Love Black People, that means I love Black people no matter where they are. So it's not a geographical thing. Black is all over the world. So we need to make sure, if you ever go to Fiji Islands in the Pacific, there's some Black people. Nappy hair, like we got Black people all over that don't even know they Black. So we as a people, those who do know who they are, should be the ones trying to lead a movement that actually changes the quality of life. Because remember, when they oppress or try to come against us with racism, they don't ask you what country you're from. They don't ask you how much money your daddy got. They don't ask you what your religion is. This is racism. It don't care. So we have to do what we can using our resources to not just impact our local community, but to actually impact globally like our ancestors did. Like one of the things we don't even talk about, like the pyramids in Egypt, a lot of folks don't know they got pyramids in America, pyramids like in Mexico. And what they say is those pyramids are so similar, there's no way that the pyramids in America were built without the influence and involvement of African people in Africa. That means our ancestors were traveling all over the world. They just wasn't colonizing people. Colonizing folks think the only way to engage folks. I don't have to rape your wife, steal your land, and kidnap your kids to do business with you. So in a real way, we've adopted a mentality that's so wicked and decadent that don't work. I mean, the same people who given us a Bible was the same person raping us and stealing our land. Talking about praise God. Praise what? You praying on me. So that's not to say Black folks shouldn't be spiritual. I'm just saying some of that stuff is political. They're doing it to control us. And we have to be aware, like, as long as we've been following these people, how has our life been? And then think about how were we before we had these things, before they gave us a Quran, Before they gave us a Bible, how did black people, what was the role of black people in the world? The people who built Great Zimbabwe, the Benin Wall, the people who built the pyramids, they weren't Christians or Muslims. So we got to like ask ourselves, like, is this stuff really working? Like, is this really giving us the salvation we're looking for? Or is somebody using this and they're the ones who benefiting from it? And that's, again, this is not a religious movement, but there's a spirituality in all black people. And I'm just saying, we have to question and be skeptical of everything. And I'm saying, the stuff I'm saying to you today, be skeptical. Ask questions, be like, but everything I'm saying, just check it out yourself. And if you disagree, that's God bless you. We're adults. We ain't supposed to agree on everything. That's not what this is about. This is about whatever part of what we're doing that you're interested in, please engage on. The part that's not your thing, cool. Do your thing. Do something else. But we have enough amazing black people that have come through so much of some of the most wicked circumstances ever seen by human beings that there's no way we can be stopped but ourselves. So we just need to take some time, and this is all voluntary. I spend all day on this. I've made money in other businesses and other things that I'm able to invest and actually help build this thing out. But so much of what we've done has come from folks just volunteering. And what you realize, I've made millions of dollars and I've been bankrupt. The one thing you can't get more of, you can make more money. You can make another business, you can make all kinds of things. You can't make more time. And the biggest thing that we need is to have people give their time, whatever they're willing to give. It's really priceless. Black folks are that amazing that just giving some of your time is worth more than a lot of money. So much of what we're doing, I've had people say, well, how do we pay for meetups and stuff? Look, we're not paying for as little as possible. We want to spend most of our energy on the organizing part. We don't want to get caught up in somebody trying to get paid or make money. If that's your motivation, I think it's fair. Like, poverty is not being black. So of course we should be doing well. But what's important in what we're doing is our people. We should not monetize or objectify our people so that we somehow saying that I'm only going to be able to help our people. It's one of these things I noticed with doctors going to other countries. You know what? If our people die off because all our doctors went to Europe, what does that really say about us? Like, of course they make more money in Europe and in America treating sick people. But if you would let your tribe or your group of people die off for money, what does it all mean anyway? What does culture mean when you can be bought and paid for at the expense of your people by the folks who actually have been killing them? We gotta reassess this thing. We're not prostitutes. We shouldn't let somebody buy us off. We should actually see the value in how priceless our own community is, our own culture is, and do whatever we can at whatever level, like many of our ancestors did. They fought and resisted, even if they knew they were going to lose. They knew that they were going to fight and resist. My great-great-great-grandmother, who refused to die, she refused to die, not knowing that she'd be able to make it back to Africa, but she did it so that I could come back to Africa and so I could do something about it. So that's a heavy thing. We come from some amazing people, and we don't even know how much money they had in their pocket. Like, and to be candid, we value who Kwame Nkrumah is, not because he was rich or not, but his principle and his stance. We value Samora Machel, not because he had a fancy car, but because of his principles. So Thomas Sankara, Cecil Fatima, Queen Nzinga, Marcus Garvey, these folks did amazing things. So we can't allow ourselves to be prostituted so that somehow having some flashy things at the expenses of our people is success. That's not success. You see what's going on in China now. With all the black billionaires, what does that mean when black folks are being harmed like they are in China? How rich are you really if you can't keep a whole group of people just beating our people down because they black? Because they racist. So again, this is bigger than money. Money is just, we're more valuable. Like, I always have a conversation about gold and diamond. These are just rocks. The European had a perverted view of value over these rocks. There's nothing more invaluable than your mother, than your brother. I don't care how many, even with this crisis right now, this should let you know, with all the diamonds in the world, the person with the most goats is gonna beat the person with the most diamonds. Because when a crisis like this comes, you can't eat diamonds. And if nobody wants your diamonds because they're gonna keep their gold, I mean their goats, you're in trouble. So again, we place value on things based on a system that's perverted and sick. At the end of the day, our brains, our time, what we have to offer is what we should value to each other, those relationships. So again, what we're doing is a manifestation of that, and we're leveraging technology to create the network so we can scale, so that when you come to Washington, D.C., I'll share with you all the places you can go and be treated well. And when I go to Accra or some of the Freetown or some of the other places, you can share with me the cool places to go to, and we'll all be safe. And then if I find myself in China, we'll make sure we have identified safe we can go to. Let me kind of wrap this up because I don't want to take everybody. So real quick, activities, identifying these Black-owned businesses and Black-friendly businesses, making sure you promote the movement on social media. We need to get as many like-minded people. And remember, when you're on social media, it's when people are talking about what's going on in China, let them know what we're doing with I Love Black People so that people can actually reach out and actually recommend Black-friendly places in China where we'd be safe. Or if you hear people talking about the coronavirus, let them know about our campaign to identify Black-friendly and Black-owned healthcare services. We have to turn the outrage into work, to solutions. It's not, you know, you can be big and bad, talking about these no good, calling people names. That ain't solving. That's childish, really. That ain't changed nothing. You done cussed everybody out and got nothing done. You really look silly. So you can be hard. You can be a real man. You don't have to be no soft sucker. But listen, make something happen, though. Your manhood shouldn't be the bass in your voice. Your manhood should be your actions, your deeds, your principles. So in a real way, when you see stuff on social media, we should be talking about solutions and using these moments to address this current problem to actually prepare for the long-term issues that we face. So social media. Also, we had a lot of people who are interested in t-shirts. All the ambassadors, and ambassadors are just people who we selected, who actually did a lot of work to help us crowdsource and identify these safe places and actually help us promote this. They became ambassadors. It's never too late to be an ambassador, but the ambassador is not based on your education or your job or your family. It's based on how much commitment you've shown I Love Black People. And those people who are ambassadors, of course, get free t-shirts. They get support because they've supported us. Members, they get t-shirts too, but they get t-shirts at cost. And then the general public, we're selling t-shirts in order to help us sustain what we're doing. And what we need is in every country is identify somebody who can make the t-shirts so we can have those t-shirts available for folks so that we can continue to promote this movement. We need everybody to know about our movement so that everybody can help us build out what we need. And if everybody does a little, nobody's got to do a lot. Connecting with Black folks globally, I talked about that. We also have a Pan-African class that we've had a very fortunate opportunity to have a sister who's a professor in New York City. She's been willing to teach a Pan-African class. She just came out with a book, and we're going to do like a 3-week course that give people opportunity to learn. So we make that, and that's all free for members and ambassadors. We're going to try to give the ambassadors the first shot at it, but the class is super full. So we're going to, you know, there's a limit of how many people we can get in, and then we're going to have another one after it, God willing. But that's something that we're adding as a value of being a part of this movement. That we understand knowledge is power, and sharing information in a way that's organized with people who know what they're talking about can be helpful. And then we also can see these things in an organized way that leads to a solution. These courses and things that we're doing is not just so you can show off how smart you are. This is so that we can actually be problem solvers for the benefit of our communities. And then we also have a book club that we're putting together called the Global Green Book Club, where we're going to be identifying books like Stolen Legacy, Wretched of the Earth, ISIS Papers, Miseducation of the Negro, quite a few books that we're going to have available through our book club, where we're actually going to be discussing these books and how the information that we're discussing relates directly to solving problems in our own community using the methodology that we have together. So these are things that you'll see coming up. That'll be for members. Also, once this coronavirus has been mitigated, we're going to go back to traveling. And we did a lot of traveling in East Africa and Southern Africa. We're going to be doing more meetups in West Africa. So be on the lookout for that. We'll just be organizing, making sure we find locations. We always try to support Black-owned establishments where we can go break bread. Like we say that this whole thing that we're talking about, protecting our people, it doesn't have to be like, you know, a chore or something negative. Like we literally can make this fun where you can actually enjoy, you know, the time you spend thinking about protecting our people. It doesn't have to be like something where, you know, you feel like, oh, this is like draining. We want engaging around issues that are important to us to be uplifting, enjoyable, no matter, you know, what's your background, what's your socioeconomic background. We want to make as much of this accessible as possible. There's no, so I was about to say something wrong. We do have a membership fee. We do have paid members, right? But membership is also free. So we have paid members, people who are willing to contribute to what we're doing. And we have people who are members because they are active and engaged. So the reason why we have paid members, there's some people who want to support financially. We want them to be able to do that. But then there's people who may not have the resources or be willing to spend the money, but they're willing to spend the time. I'll be candid, the time is more valuable than the money. You know, getting, you know, $20 from somebody, that's nothing. With the brains and the abilities and talents of Black people, we're worth more than $20 or anything. We're amazing. So for us, it's about everybody doing what they can to support this in the way that they feel comfortable with. And if you're not cool with a certain thing, that's all right. You know what I'm saying? We'll find somebody else who's cool with that. Maybe you can try something else. So again, you know, the whole movement is about us protecting Black people from racism and xenophobia. I brought up some of the activities and things. I think that's pretty much it. With these groups, I just want to say again, it's about being disciplined. We have chat groups, the Telegram group, the I Love Black People think tank. But when we're in these groups, the WhatsApp groups, our focus is identifying as many places so that we can protect Black people from racism and xenophobia, period. That's all we're doing. And this dog looking all tired and hot. Come on, dog. Tell you what, just living this life, right? So I'll probably be a good time to answer questions. I know y'all super busy. I'm not trying to take everybody's day up or evening up. Wafula, do we have any questions that have been submitted?
Yes, we do. So we have one from Moha who's asking about t-shirts and stickers that they can use to promote our agenda in their regions.
Okay, so we definitely need to identify a t-shirt company. We're going to make that something that we do over the next few weeks. But let me just talk about this again. The biggest thing that we have access to is using technology to do things that would have been more difficult before. Like this phone call would not be possible without technology before. So I'm just saying to you that I've had people say, look, when can we have a big conference? Well, I'm not saying we shouldn't have a big conference, but the money and time that we're spending should be focused directly on solving the problem of Black people being harmed and humiliated by racism and xenophobia. Again, I run a very lean operation. I've made money as an engineer, real estate, consulting, a whole bunch of things. And I always run an operation very lean and focus on results. So I want to make sure that we get as much done with as least amount of resources so we can do the greatest good as possible. Of course, it'd be great if we can send stickers out. We tried sending stickers using conventional mail. It took 3 months to get mail to somebody with stickers in it, like an envelope in Africa. It was actually faster to send mail from the United States to Kenya to send mail from Zimbabwe to Kenya. Can you imagine that? And see, this is what we don't get. This is all structural racism. There's no explanation why it's easier to send mail from all the way in America to Kenya and not from Zimbabwe to Kenya. This has been set up to disenfranchise us so we don't organize. So yes, we're going to get people resources like that, but the biggest resource we have is you connecting with your family and your friends who trust you, who love you and care about you, and you sharing with them the work we're doing so they can be involved. We definitely want to get t-shirts to folks because we want to make sure that we make people aware. But even with the Black-owned and Black-friendly business, I had somebody say, well, do we need to ask the businesses? I said, nah, businesses want you to recommend them anyway. If you come to DC and ask me what's a good place to go get something to eat, I don't have to go to that restaurant and say, is it okay that I recommend you to this guy over here? Nah, recommend the places that you really dig. If you got friends in London, ask your friends, what's a good place to get medical help? What's a good place to get something to eat? Have them submit that stuff so we can use that. So when Black folks are traveling to London, to Paris, to Beijing, to Shanghai, wherever they are, they know what's going on. So you don't have to ask for permission to recommend anything. No, we want you to recommend places that you have confidence that they would love to be a part of something like this. And if they're not, then don't recommend them. All right, what's next? Brother Wafula, I can't hear you, bro.
We have Pascal and Sadat asking if we have plans to visit their region anytime soon.
Absolutely. The last time I was in West Africa, I was in Douala, Yaoundé, I was in Abuja, Lagos. I've been to Dakar. I think that's as much as I've been on West. We're coming black. We're gonna go to Freetown. We're gonna go to Accra. We're gonna go all over. We're going to Gambia. Every place we can go, we're gonna make sure we touch our people and keep everybody energized. But I want this to be clear. What makes this thing amazing is everybody who's on the call. You know what I'm saying? I think it's important that we as an African diaspora connect to each other. But I just want us to know that we're the ones who are special. The colonizers spent a lot of time and money trying to take our confidence away, to destroy what we had built. And they knew what we had built was so amazing, it was intimidating. So I think, again, I'm gonna physically be in some of these places, but what's even more important is that you're physically present, and that you're spiritually present, and that you're mentally present, and that you're emotionally present, that we can actually have the courage to actually fight to protect our people from this wicked racist systems out here. So in a real way, absolutely, bro. As soon as this thing is over, I'll probably bring my wife, we'll do it. I'm actually a pilot. I got a little small, like Cessna airplane. What I really would love is I could just fly my own plane all over the continent and check y'all out. Like actually go to like small spots and land my plane and come out, you know what I'm saying? Kick it with y'all. We can have some beers or whatever and just talk about that's what I'm saying. This thing, man, this journey we're on, we have more in common than we have that is different. We just need a chance to connect and connect under the right circumstances. Not connecting to get paid, not connecting to try to do something silly. Do something that's meaningful, but at the same time, we still can be cool. So for real, definitely connecting is a part of it, and definitely appreciate the interest. All right, what's next?
Yeah, Ernest is asking with the corona pandemic, like governments are doing stuff to protect their citizens back home, but what can we do to ensure Africans are protected when they're abroad, like in China?
Yeah, I think that the big thing that we got from talking, here's another thing. I think us talking like we are now, or like having conversations and people bringing up issues, I think is very helpful. I think we're creating a China group to focus on China. And we have a speaker that's going to be on Facebook Live on Monday who's currently in China. So if you haven't seen that, we actually have a person, a Black person, African American, who's in China that's actually there right now. So what we're going to do is make sure that we do our best to connect to African people in China so that they know that we see what's going on. And what I've done personally, I've reached out to some people that I know in the American government. As racist as the American government is, they still using my tax dollars and they still using my, resources. So I'm gonna make sure that we definitely let as many people know as possible. I've definitely reached out to some news outlets, as wicked as some of these news outlets are, definitely trying to make sure people are aware of what's going on with our brothers and sisters in China. And our thing is providing them access to Black-friendly places that they can go to while they're there. Also, identify Black-friendly lawyers that they can use to help protect themselves if they're needed, as well as help them understand any other information that they may be missing and know that there's other Black folks who are there that are willing to be helpful. So in times like this, we got to collaborate and work together. This ain't the time to say, I'm from this country, you from that country. Look, they doing this to all Black folks. And look, they're doing it to folks from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Chicago, Illinois. They're doing it to Black people. This is racism. Racism don't care. I used to make me wonder, some Black folks think if you're really nice to racists, they'll stop being racist. Wait a minute, the colonizer colonized everybody. They didn't just colonize the people they didn't like, they colonized everybody. So you talking about, well, you gotta be, if you're nice or not nice, they're gonna colonize you. So we gotta stop having a weird relationship with oppression. No, you're not gonna nice your way out of an oppression. What you have to do is stand up and protect yourself. And so what we have to do is give those who are in that situation the support we can. And that's what we're working on with your help. And everybody who has somebody that they know, let's try to DM so that we can put together a group where we can at least try to identify maybe their top 5 issues so that we can share that information with other folks who might have connections to people. Maybe if we can identify the top 5 issues they have, we could actually be used. So please direct message our office line if you have any friends or relatives in China or any people who've been to China. That's another thing. There's brothers and sisters who lived in China who know what's going on. They know some things too, but we need to leverage those brains. That's why the technology is just a tool. The real brilliance and genius of what we're doing to I Love Black People is the Black brain. If we can leverage all the minds on this call to solve these problems, we're gonna solve this problem because we're that genius. We're talented people. So we just gotta apply that talent more than singing and dancing and rapping. We gotta apply that to solving problems like this. I know those people want to be preachers and the next, evangelists, but we're gonna use our minds to solve problems for Black folks. So again, that's the focus. So I think the issue of China is real, and we're gonna do whatever we can to help them get through this. What's next?
All right, so Ernest is asking, how do we use, how does this medium get funded? Basically, for all the things we are doing, how are we getting funded?
Right now, it's a struggle. We're bootstrapping. The money that we've used have come from the co-founder and myself, and we've had some initial investments from classmates, friends, and family about 2 years ago. We should be looking for some more funding in probably this upcoming year, as well as identifying as many paid members that would be willing to pay to be a part of this. And then also selling the t-shirts. We think there's some revenue that can come from that. We think there's also revenue that can come from the book that we're selling and any type of services that we can provide the community. We're trying to figure out ways to do that. But what we don't want to do, we always want to make access to protecting Black people from racism and xenophobia. We always want that to be free. You don't ever want that to be something that we're trying to make money off of. And so the difficulty is that you got to build the system as best as possible, get people engaged, and then from there, find out ways that we can keep it sustainable. I think if we keep our spending down and just leverage folks volunteering and helping, the actual cost of like, the biggest cost we have now is just like developer cost, my travel. But again, I've done well enough in some of these other businesses that I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy this. Like even this is our third phone call of the day. I do this for free. I love us. So love will get you a lot more than like having a lot of money. Look, I've been broke and poor. Love has got me through both of them. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it is an issue of figuring out the money, but it's not the first issue. The first issue is actually solving a real problem that helps our people. And I think if we do a great job of that, we'll get the support we need. The first and primary thing though is making sure Black people are protected from racism and xenophobia, full stop. We do that, I think we're gonna do something that, man, it's gonna be super amazing. Like really, it's gonna be celebrities trying to help us do what we're doing because they see how effective a few Black folks who didn't even know each other came together under I Love Black People and put in that work, like some work, and I think that's the biggest thing. And when it comes to paying, like again, the stuff that people have already done and volunteer and help, that hold on a second, dog, get up, dog. Dog, get up. Look, get up. Come on, Brando, get up, man. God, me. I'm sorry, guys. What happens is when I'm talking, I'm walking. I'm kind of heavy set, so I'm trying to like walk and talk just to keep moving. And then the dog going to just lay right in front of me, and I'm about to fall. I apologize. Yeah, next question. I apologize, guys.
Yeah, then in connection with that, Roland has like a two-part question. So he's asking, okay, once he recommends business and like this business gains by getting clients, like, and he's done this for that business, what does that mean for him? Then he also asks, how does he know, as somebody who recommends business, whether we get paid by the business for like traffic they get from our platform?
Okay, great questions. The benefit of adding a business is that the business is now a business we've identified as being safe for Black people. So the benefit is us creating a world that's safe for Black folks. So there's nobody who's going to track how much business or money that business has made. What we're going to track is if that business is really Black friendly or not. If that business is not friendly to Black people, we're going to remove it from our platform. So the focus of this is not making businesses rich. The focus of this is identifying businesses that people can trust are going to respect them and treat them with the dignity and respect that they deserve. So as far as making money from the business, making the money, like I said earlier, like this is not one of those things where people can pay their way to get on this platform. This thing got to have integrity. The people that come on this platform have to be bona fide, Black friendly or Black owned businesses. And we're going to be leveraging the ambassadors to verify and review if somebody goes someplace that they got from us through recommending them, and it turns out that it's not Black friendly, we want to make sure that business is removed. So how much money that business makes or not is not as important to us as if they are actually businesses that are Black friendly and actually support what we're, the idea of protecting Black people from racism and xenophobia. As far as getting compensated, again, if protecting Black folks from racism and xenophobia is not enough of compensation, then you shouldn't be a part of I Love Black People. You should probably find some place to make some money until you get your money right and then come back. But this right here is for people who really want to make sure that Black folks are protected from racism and xenophobia. This is not a way to build wealth. There's plenty of other ways. You know, I've been an engineer and been in business. I know there's plenty of ways to make money out here. This is about people who are concerned about Black people more than they are about making money. And everybody's not going to be like that. There's a lot of people who think money is more important than Black folks. And then there's places where they should go. I don't know. I don't want to even know those people. That's my life. I'm 50 years old. Life is too short. I just want to work with folks who love Black folks. Full stop. And if they gotta get paid to love Black folks, you know, I'm just telling you, I'm not gonna curse on here because it's Easter Sunday, but I know what they can do. Did I answer the question or anything?
Yeah, though I see Raymond is asking for a clarification, like, do recommending those businesses to tourists mean we get a percentage of whatever they pay?
The businesses aren't paying anything. So that's the first thing. The businesses aren't paying anything. The people who get on this platform, they don't pay nothing. We're not asking the businesses to pay us to be on this platform at all. The only way you can get on the platform is if you're recommended as a Black-friendly and Black-owned business. Anybody telling people that they're being added so that tourists can go to their business, then you got this mixed up. This is not about tourism. This is not a app for folks who are trying to show how fancy they are. This is about Black people being in China right now, being harmed and humiliated by Chinese people. So there's no business that we're gonna there's no charging for that. I don't know how else to say it. Black folks are being harmed in China. We're not picking businesses based on who's gonna pay us. We're picking businesses based on who's willing to protect Black people from racism and xenophobia, Black-friendly businesses. Maybe I'm not doing a good job. Did the person have a follow-up question? Maybe I'm not answering well. So, hey, y'all, if I'm not answering it well, just please ask it in another way or help me out. Rafula?
Yeah, I think that's second time you clarified.
Yeah, so the businesses that are being referred, let me just go back to you and I can share some videos. The original Green Book that was done in America, the businesses did not pay to be in that book. They were businesses where Black folks could go and not be harmed by racism. So the benefit from them being on there was that they were people who were doing things the right way. And it's a good thing to support people who support you. Now, in that whole endeavor, what we see as the best way to find out ways to make money is not from trying to, charge business to be on the site. We think that if we add real value to the lives of Black folks, those who actually want to support this movement by doing whatever it is will do it. If they don't want to, we never want anyone to wonder, did some business get on here because they paid? This is how they play them games with us. You know how they do with the church. Did someone tithe and that's why they treat it this way? This whole fundamental thing is volunteers helping to build something to protect Black people. If you got people who are willing to save the monkeys, save the elephants, save the lions, save the whales, save the rhinos. If saving Black people requires you to get paid to do, then you need to go where you go. We're with the folks who think Black people are worth protecting. That's the people we want. Those who got to do it with some incentive, like financially, that's not I Love Black People. They need to give what I Love some money and join that group. That's not what this group is. But that's not saying that we want people to be broke. That's why we're saying this is volunteer. So the time you do have available to help, do that. It's just like the people who are saving elephants. They don't spend their whole day dealing with the elephants, but they spend some time helping with whatever that cause is. Or people who are about saving the trees. They do something. It's about time we try to save ourselves, though. So you're not going to have somebody saying, well, What if a company pays me that's going to save the elephants? Nah, we don't play that. We're here for the people who are sincerely about the same things that we're about. And if you're not about what we're about, then God bless you. We're not going to be negative, but we damn sure ain't going to spend a lot of time on it. All right. What's next?
Yeah, so next is so somebody is asking how can they become an ambassador? Then in connection to that, how can like they're asking for like a form of identification for them to be recognized as members or I Love Black People ambassadors.
Okay, so with ambassadors, we've done a thing where they can actually, we create a bio for them. So the ambassadors, there should be a bio that we create for them that's like a graphic. But there's nothing like in a physical form. There's no membership card that we've created. Now that might be something we do like virtually, but we're not into like creating anything that's gonna require extra expense. As it relates to people knowing who you are and, you know, by a card, if you got to show somebody a card to say who you are as it relates to loving Black people, we're probably in the wrong, we're probably not doing a good job of explaining this. We need people who already in their everyday life are actually doing things in a way that's loving and supportive of Black folks. You being a part of this should be something that just magnifies who you are and what you're doing already by having other people who have a similar interest. This is not like some Masonic or some secret society thing where people are trying to be. We want to be able to help Black folks who are members of I Love Black People, true enough. But that's not going to be the determining factor if we help Black people. We're going to help Black people because it's the right thing to do, period, full stop. So again, this is not a thing that we're trying to create to make us better than somebody. If anything, this is us trying to serve our people in an effective way. If you already were doing something positive for Black people, what we're trying to do is actually give you another way to do what you already are interested in doing. And hopefully you'll see what we're doing as being a very effective way to do it. So again, there's no, ambassadors do get like a bio so that we recognize the work they've done and appreciation for that. Members, you don't have a membership like card or anything, but I think it's something that we can look into. It's like we keep a database of everybody who's participating so that we can, you know, like send them emails and get in contact with folks. So, but we don't have like a card or something. And, you know, again, you know, depending on, I guess, you know, finances, I don't know if it ever makes sense. That's what I'm saying. When we got unlimited resources, are you going to use that money to, you know, pay for some cards for folks, or do you use that money to build out some more of the technology that helps people? I mean, these are things that we're always trying to figure out. So definitely, you know, keep making suggestions. All right, what's next? Wafula? I can't
Yeah,
hear
so
you, right?
they're also asking how can they get access to a green book, to a global green book.
Okay, so all members should have a copy of it. If you don't, just reach out via WhatsApp to our I Love Black People phone line. It's a +263. It's a Zim country code. Reach out to that, and if you haven't got it, and you're a member, and you haven't got a PDF of the book, we'll get it over to you. Absolutely.
Right, then I think, yeah, I think that's it.
All right, all right, all right. Hey, y'all, this has been my view the whole time. This is looking over my villa, looking off, man. There's an ocean like right over on the other side of those trees. And then we got the little pool jump, you know, little something for them. We got a little screen so we can show stuff outside. And over there, you can barely see it, is where we have our generator. In the Caribbean, you know, power goes out too, so everything's. So again, thank you, everybody. Thanks everybody for, you know, being a part of this. It means so much. This is how we help ourselves. At the end of the day, this is about our own liberation and standing on the shoulders of our ancestors, and as well as for our children. We really appreciate everybody and their participation. We have deadlines in August to have this network built out. It's important that everybody does the best they can, stay focused. This issue with China, we're going to be focused on it. If you got any DMs of people, information that are there, we want to create a specific group to address the issues of what's going on in China. We might have to use Telegram instead of WhatsApp. Like some of these different messaging services are a little difficult. They have to use the VPNs. So we're going to try to figure out what the best way that is, and we'll keep people up to date on that. But again, our salvation is in our hands. So praise God, Resurrection Sunday. With that being said, we want to make sure that we do what we can humanly possibly, as well as continue to be spiritually focused. So again, I am because we are. Look, appreciate everybody on this call, and let's continue the good work. All right, love you.